Imagine waking up one morning and realizing Florida's problem isn't hurricanes anymore. It's dragons. Not the kind from fairy tales, but real 10-foot monsters with venom in their mouths and hunger in their eyes. The Sunshine State already battles over 500 invasive species, costing more than $500 million a year. But what if the next solution turns into the biggest threat yet? Scientists call it biocontrol. We call it madness. Because once those prehistoric killers are released, who decides what they eat first, the pythons, the wild hogs, or the pets sleeping in your backyard? Florida's wetlands could turn from a paradise into a hunting ground overnight. How long before the top of the food chain isn't human anymore? This is the Downturn Report, where the truth gets personal. And tonight we're asking the question that could rewrite Florida's future. What happens if thousands of Komodo dragons are released on American soil? And what if they decide not to leave? When the ground starts breathing. No one ever thought the soft soil of Florida would start to move on its own, but it is slowly, silently, like the land itself is exhaling. The Sunshine State isn't just fighting mosquitoes and humidity anymore. It's fighting an invisible army that never sleeps. More than 500 alien species have crept, flown, and slithered their way into this tropical postcard. Some are harmless freeloaders, the kind that just hang around the buffet. Others, though, are eating the house from the inside out. These outsiders have already devoured 1.7 million acres of native land and are chewing through over $500 million every single year. It's like Florida's paying rent to its invaders. The farther south you go, the worse it gets. South Florida is no longer just the land of retirees and pink flamingos. It's an all-you-can-eat buffet for species from every corner of the world. From ants that bite like fire to fish that crawl on land, it's a jungle remix with no off switch. The state has become a kind of accidental Noah's Ark, except this one forgot to check the guest list. Every year brings a new face, a new mouth, a new hunger. Scientists and trappers are losing the war. For every one invader captured, 10 more take its place, like some biblical pest plague with better camouflage. Now the desperate whispers start again. What if we release something bigger, something that could scare the monsters back? And that's where the Komodo dragon slithers into the fantasy. The idea sounds like madness, a prehistoric predator, longer than a car, weighing more than a man, roaming through Florida's wetlands in the name of balance. It's the kind of plan you'd expect after a few too many beers at a dockside bar. But when the fight feels hopeless, madness can start to sound like reason. Imagine thousands of Komodo dragons unleashed across the Everglades, sunning themselves beside retirees, boats eyeing poodles and golf carts with equal interest. It's a nightmare that writes its own sequel. Nature doesn't negotiate, it collects debts. If Florida has been too kind, too warm, too welcoming, this might be the bill coming due with teeth sharp enough to remind us that paradise never stays quiet forever. What happens when you feed a dragon? Florida may think it's seen it all: hurricanes, sinkholes, even pythons, thick as telephone poles. But nothing prepares the mind for the thought of a 10-foot dragon crawling through the swamps. The Komodo dragon isn't your backyard lizard. It's nature's original hitman, built like a prehistoric tank with a head shaped for biting through bone and a tail that could knock a man flat. The average one weighs about 154 pounds, but some grow to over 300. Picture that lumbering through your neighborhood like a living fossil with an appetite that never clocks out. These beasts don't hunt because they're hungry. They hunt because everything around them looks like food. From deer to pigs, from buffalo to each other, they devour with the patience of time itself. One meal can equal 80% of their own weight, which means a single dinner could empty a small farm. But here's the kicker: they've been eating outsiders for centuries. On their home turf, the lesser Sunda Islands, Komodo dragons weren't supposed to have so many buffet options. The islands were never connected to the mainland. Only dwarf elephants once roamed there. Then humans arrived, dragging with them pigs, goats, and deer, and the dragons adjusted instantly, like predators born for globalization. They learned the taste of every foreign animal and never forgot. If evolution had a trophy case, the Komodo dragon would sit right in the center, voracious, cunning, endlessly adaptable. It's the predator that wins by simply being patient. And now some dare to whisper, Maybe that's what Florida needs. A creature too ancient to fear, too ruthless to negotiate. In theory, these dragons could bring balance to an ecosystem where pythons and iguanas have run wild. A reptilian sheriff cleaning up the bad guys. But let's be honest, what happens when the sheriff starts eating the town? Could a beast bred under the harsh suns of distant islands really survive in Florida's muggy chaos? Or worse, could it thrive? It's a thought that chills the spine like a slow hiss in the dark. The Sunshine State might imagine salvation, but what it could unleash is something far older, far hungrier, and far less forgiving than any invasive pest. After all, you can invite a dragon to dinner, but you might never get your table back. When paradise becomes a refuge for monsters. It sounds like something out of a fever dream, but it's true. Florida might be the perfect retirement home for Komodo dragons. On their native islands in Indonesia, these beasts are packed in like commuters on a Monday morning subway volcanic. Ridges, thick tropical brush, scorching heat, and barely enough elbow room to swing that massive tail. Beautiful? Sure. Spacious? Not a chance. But in Florida, there's room to stretch. Acres of open marshland, mangroves, and endless buffet options. To a Komodo dragon, it's not relocation, it's an upgrade. The state already plays host to more foreign reptiles and amphibians than any other place on Earth. Florida's warm, sticky air doesn't just welcome invaders, it rolls out a red carpet for them. The subtropical weather means no freezing winters, no harsh deserts, just one long, humid season that says, make yourself at home. And that's exactly what these dragons would do. They're built for stealth, not speed. They can sit for hours in tall grass, still as statues, until the moment a deer, dog, or unsuspecting jogger wanders too close. Then snap. Those shark-like teeth go to work, and the cycle of survival begins again. South Florida's tangled greenery and wide-open fields make a perfect ambush zone. It's nature's stage, and the Komodo dragon knows every cue. Forget freezing to death or running out of prey here. They'd live like kings. In a grim twist, Florida could even become the species' salvation. You see, the Komodo dragon once ruled a vast empire that stretched from Indonesia to Australia. But like so many fallen monarchs, its territory shrank over time until only a handful of islands remained, and those are now drowning. Since the 1970s, Komodos have been confined to Komodo National Park. By 1996, scientists called them vulnerable. By 2021, endangered. Not because of hunters or disease, but because the sea itself is coming for them. Climate models predict that by 2040, rising ocean levels could erase 30 to 70% of their remaining home. So here's the moral twist. If Florida's invader crisis collides with the Komodo's extinction crisis, we may find ourselves in a dark bargain with nature. The same state that suffers under invasive predators might become the sanctuary that saves one. The question is, when paradise becomes a refuge for monsters, can humans still call it home? The predator Florida didn't know it needed. Here's a cruel joke of nature. Florida's got a pig problem, and the only thing worse than the pigs might be the cure. In the spring of 2024, wild hogs practically declared war on the state. They tore through cornfields, rooted up forests, and strutted across highways like they owned the place. These aren't the farmyard bacon makers your granddad raised. They're descendants of the pigs the Spanish dumped on the continent back in the 16th century, now gone feral and ferocious. After generations of breeding in the wild, they've become Florida's uninvited demolition crew, smart, fast, and as destructive as bulldozers with tusks. Today they infest nearly 36 states, but Florida ranks among the top 5 worst hit. In places like the Everglades, farmers wake up to find their fields shredded overnight. The economic bleeding is real. Roughly $1.5 million a year vanish into the mud, along with the crops, soil, and farmers' patience. Experts agree there's only one solution: kill every single one. But you can't exterminate what hides better than you hunt. Hogs are clever and quick, darting through thickets before a bullet finds them. That's why some have begun whispering about a new sheriff in town, the Komodo dragon. No traps, no poisons, no helicopters, just nature's most patient assassin. These lizards don't need to chase, they wait. Hidden in the brush or the shadow of a cypress, they freeze like statues until the hog stumbles within striking distance. Then comes the flash of claws, the snap of jaws, and silence. And if the hog bolts, the dragon barely breaks a sweat. They can sprint up to 12 miles per hour fast enough to make a grown man drop his shotgun, but speed isn't their deadliest trick. Their real weapon drips from their gums, venom that lowers blood pressure, stops clotting, and sends victims into shock. A hog might run, but it's already dying on its feet. The dragon simply follows the scent of iron in the air, calm as death itself, until the prey collapses. One zoo recorded a 99-pound dragon swallowing an 88-pound hog whole. Another devoured a 66-pounder in just 17 minutes. Out in the wild, the takedown can happen in seconds. So yes, Florida might have just met its perfect predator. The Komodo dragon doesn't negotiate, doesn't hesitate, it simply restores balance the old-fashioned way, with fangs, venom, and patience older than time itself. When the snake meets its match. Florida, the land of hurricanes, tourists, and now giant serpents. The Burmese python has slithered its way into legend as one of the state's most terrifying invaders. These aren't your garden variety snakes. They're heavyweight predators from Southeast Asia that now treat Florida's wetlands like an all-you-can-eat buffet. The average python stretches between 6 and 9 feet, but the record breaker measured over 18, imagine 6 long human strides, and the snake still isn't done. Inside their bellies, scientists have found the remains of raccoons, rabbits, deer, even endangered species. Their appetite knows no mercy. They can swallow prey their own size and still look hungry. Entire ecosystems have gone quiet where they hunt. Birds vanish, mammals disappear, and the silence they leave behind feels almost biblical. Humans try to trap them, hunt them, even race them in bizarre python challenges. But most attempts end with the snake slithering off, undefeated. Enter the Komodo dragon, nature's reptilian tank. On its home turf in Indonesia, this beast already shares space with reticulated pythons, snakes even longer and heavier than the Burmese kind. To a Komodo, a Florida python wouldn't be a monster. It'd be lunch. And while there's no confirmed footage of a Komodo tearing into a python, its cousins have proven the family talent. In Australia, the Parente monitor regularly hunts venomous snakes, including the deadly taipan. In one viral clip, a smaller monitor is attacked by a snake that coils around it like a python would, but the lizard shrugs it off and walks away victorious, jaws still dripping. Of course, not every duel ends the same. A massive Burmese python once went viral for vomiting up a large monitor lizard in Thailand, a grim reminder that predators sometimes swap roles. But that lizard wasn't a Komodo. The Komodo is in another league entirely. Heavier, faster, with armor-thick skin and venom strong enough to drop a hog. A young dragon might fall prey to a big snake, sure, but an adult? It could easily turn the tables, preferring smaller or juvenile pythons for dinner. And sometimes the kill is mutual. Pythons have been seen regurgitating monitors, and monitors regurgitating pythons. That's how even nature's deadliest rivals end locked in a looping, grotesque dance of predator and prey. But if Florida's serpents ever meet a Komodo dragon, one thing's certain, it won't be the dragon doing the running, when the cure becomes the catastrophe. On paper, it sounds foolproof. Florida gets a natural cleanup crew, the Komodo dragons get endless meals, and the pests finally get what's coming. Hogs, gone. Pythons, handled. Every invasive species, from the Everglades to the Gulf, turned into reptilian chow. But before we start handing out medals, it's worth remembering that Florida's been down this road before. The state already tried its luck with another foreign guest, the Nile monitor. And if that experience taught anything, it's that letting a predator fix your ecosystem is like hiring an arsonist to stop wildfires. The Nile monitor, native to Africa, didn't mean to move in, but once it did, it acted like it owned the place. It swims, climbs, burrows, and hunts in both salt and fresh water. Anything that twitches or doesn't is fair game. Crabs, frogs, turtles, baby crocodiles, birds, mammals, even other lizards. Think of it as nature's garbage disposal with a bad attitude. South Florida's canal system turned into its private highway, helping it spread like gossip in a small town. The result? Vanishing pets, missing feral cats, and devastated populations of protected species like sea turtles and gopher tortoises. Cape Coral, once proud of its burrowing owls, now hosts as many Nile monitors as birds. The local ecosystem didn't just bend, it broke. And here's the chilling math. A Nile monitor maxes out at around 8 feet and 30 pounds. The Komodo dragon? 10 feet long and more than 300 pounds of prehistoric muscle. That's not an upgrade, it's an escalation. A single Komodo could outweigh a pack of Nile monitors, and what one Nile Komodo nibble through in a week, a Komodo could destroy in an afternoon. So imagine the chaos when both coexist. One feasts on eggs, frogs, and fledglings. The other takes care of the grown-ups' boars, deer, maybe even the odd alligator. Together, they'd carve Florida into a two-tiered nightmare. The small killers below, the giants above. The irony is that in trying to restore balance, humans might build a new food chain, one that ends with us. Because in nature, every solution has teeth, and once those teeth sink in, they don't let go. The Komodo dragon might not save Florida's wildlife. It might just finish what the Nile monitor started, one silent meal at a time. When apex predators collide. If the Komodo dragon ever sets foot in Florida, it won't just face wild hogs or runaway pythons. It'll have to share the throne with beasts that have ruled those swamps since before the first human set foot there. South Florida is a kingdom already divided between two prehistoric titans, the American crocodile and the Mississippi alligator. It's the only place on Earth where both coexist, side by side, like two old warlords who've learned to respect each other's turf. Now imagine a third one crashing the party, a 10-foot foreign dragon with a temper and venom to match. The balance wouldn't just shift, it would shatter. For the Komodo, this would be uncharted territory. Back home, no rivals wait in the mangroves. Saltwater crocodiles once lurked near its Indonesian islands, but vanished long ago, leaving the monitor to reign without challenge. Florida, though, plays by different rules. Here, the alligator is king. Male alligators grow between 10 and 16 feet and weigh several hundred pounds, covered in dark armor so thick it laughs at teeth and claws. They may look clumsy on land, but in water they're living torpedoes, swift, silent, and armed with tails that double as propellers and clubs. One snap of those jaws can crush bone, their bite force clocking in at over 130 atmospheres, enough to turn a Komodo's leg into powder. Sure, the dragon isn't defenseless. Its claws can shred, its tail can whip, and its venomous bite can kill. Cornered, it would fight with every ounce of prehistoric fury. But strength alone doesn't win every war. In Florida's swamps, water is power, and the gator owns it. Drag a Komodo into the shallows and it's over. The alligator doesn't wrestle, it spins. Its death roll tears muscle from bone while drowning its prey in muddy silence. Even on land, the odds are close but cruel. The alligator's hide is nearly bulletproof, while the Komodo's thick skin was never designed for such heavy armor. In its homeland, the Komodo dragon is nature's monarch, unmatched and unafraid. But in Florida, that crown would wobble. The dragon might rule the dry fields, but once it ventures near the water's edge, it becomes just another meal waiting to be rolled and swallowed whole. The Sunshine State already has its apex predators, and they don't plan on sharing the throne. The last king meets the new monster. Florida's wild heart still beats through its ghostly monarch, the Florida panther. This sleek, amber-eyed predator, the last surviving population of cougars in the eastern United States, stalks what's left of its ancient kingdom, pine forests, sawgrass plains, and freshwater swamps. But that kingdom has shrunk to 5% of what it once was. Barely 200 panthers remain, each fighting not just for food, but for existence. Cars crush them, bulldozers steal their forests, and desperate clashes over territory spill blood across the wetlands. Yet somehow the panther endures, still ruling as the apex predator of Florida's wilds, at least for now. Because the arrival of a Komodo dragon would change everything. A reptile large enough to stare a panther in the eye and not blink, armed with venom that can drop a beast twice its size. Burmese pythons have already shown that even Florida's mightiest mammals aren't safe. They've been known to strangle and swallow panthers whole. But a Komodo wouldn't need to constrict. One quick strike, one venomous bite, and the cat would bleed out while the dragon followed its scent to finish the meal. The elegant, endangered ruler of Florida could become a snack for a tourist from Indonesia. The irony writes itself: humans trying to fix an invasion by creating an extinction. And as if the circle weren't vicious enough, another enemy waits in the mud: the cane toad. These squat, toxic hitchhikers, imported decades ago to help with pests, now infest the state. Their poison kills anything foolish enough to eat them. In Australia, Komodo-like monitors have died en masse from their toxins. Florida's crawling with the same toads. So picture it: millions spent to unleash dragons, and they drop dead from eating frogs. Maybe, given time, they'd learn to avoid the poison. But how many would die first? Enough, perhaps, to bury the grand experiment before the first dragon ever takes its throne, when the dragon comes for dinner. Even if the Komodo dragon outlasts the alligator, sidesteps the crocodile, and learns not to lick cane toads, one enemy in Florida remains: unbeatable people. And to be fair, it's not the dragons that would have a problem, it's us. The Sunshine State's southern coast is packed with neighborhoods, golf resorts, and retirees who think the scariest thing in their backyard is a raccoon tipping over the trash can. Now imagine a 10-foot lizard lumbering out of the mangroves instead. Florida isn't the remote chain of volcanic islands where Komodo dragons evolved. It's suburbia with swimming pools. On their native islands, human encounters are rare, but rare doesn't mean non-existent, and the few that happen are nightmare fuel. Local guides in Indonesia say a Komodo's bite can snap a human leg like dry driftwood. They aren't exaggerating. In 2019, a construction worker on Rinca Island was mauled by a pair of dragons while building a luxury resort. In 2007, an 8-year-old boy was dragged off and killed, the first fatal attack in 33 years. 2 years later, a man fell from a tree and landed beside 2 dragons waiting below. He never made it home, and those are on islands with only a handful of villages. Now place these predators in Florida, home to millions. Every jogger on a trail, every child playing near the bushes, every trash bin left open becomes an invitation. Monitor lizards don't like being disturbed. When startled, they lash out fast and hard. Florida's endless lawns, campgrounds, and overflowing dumpsters would tempt dragons closer to people every day. They'd learn that garbage smells like free food, that dogs and cats don't fight back, that humans run slower than deer. The first sighting would make the news, the first attack would make history. And by the time officials scramble to react, it'll be too late. Because once a dragon finds dinner near your doorstep, you're not the top of the food chain anymore. You're on the menu. When good ideas grow teeth, every plan looks brilliant until something decides to bite back. On paper, the Komodo dragon experiment sounds like ecological poetry, an apex predator swooping in to devour Florida's invaders and restore balance. But in practice, the dragon wouldn't stop to check who's invasive and who's native. It eats anything that breathes, moves, or dares to blink. Why wrestle a python when a raccoon or rabbit is easier? Why chase a boar when a coyote or a possum makes a simpler meal? The animals already battered by Burmese pythons, lynxes, rabbits, and raccoons wouldn't find salvation in a Komodo dragon. They'd just meet a hungrier executioner. Instead of solving the problem, Florida would trade one invasive threat for another bigger, bolder, and much hungrier. And let's not forget the wild hogs. Smart, adaptable, and armed with tusks, these feral tanks learn faster than we give them credit for. Hunters already know the pattern. Shoot a few, and the rest vanish into the night. They turn nocturnal, disappear into swamps, and make tracking them nearly impossible. That's why several states have banned hog hunting altogether. It makes things worse. Replace hunters with Komodo dragons, and the story writes itself. For a few years, sure, it'd look like a success. Boar numbers would drop. Then the hogs would wise up, learning to sense danger, shifting habits, and once again melting into the shadows. Meanwhile, the dragons, robbed of their easy prey, would move closer to civilization, prowling neighborhoods, sniffing around garbage cans, and finding simpler meals, pets, livestock, maybe even the occasional jogger. And if history teaches anything, it's that biological control rarely works. Every solution just breeds another catastrophe. Between 2008 and 2015, Florida spent about $125 million battling invasive aquatic plants. In 2018 alone, the Wildlife Department poured $250,000 into studying how to remove lionfish, just lionfish. Nationwide, invasive species have cost America over $1.22 trillion since 1960. Add Komodo dragons, and that number climbs higher. So yes, the dream of a reptilian hero cleaning up Florida's wilds sounds exciting until the hero starts eating the audience.
Thanks so much for sticking with us to the very end. If you like this video, make sure to give it a like and subscribe so you won't miss any of our daily updates. And now feel free to check out some of our latest and most popular videos showing up on your screen. Goodbye, and see you in the next one.